In 1603, on a cold autumn morning in a hidden valley of feudal Japan, a boy missed the shot that should have changed his life. He stood at the archery range, 12 targets in a line. His master, old and scarred from real battle, said, "Haruto, if you lose 12 arrows, how many bullseyes can you hit?" The young samurai straightened his back. "All 12, master." The old man's gaze didn't move from the targets. "Then you will miss them all." Haruto frowned. He was top of his class, fastest sword, steadiest hand. But the next words shattered him. When your mind is scattered across 12, you are absent from the only one that exists, this shot right now. That was the riddle every real warrior had to solve. Victory isn't born from speed, but stillness. Not from more techniques, but from fewer thoughts. Not from the bow in your hand, but from the place your mind rests while you draw it. The samurai who discovered this had names carved into history. Those who didn't had names carved on gravestones. And here's what nobody told you. This was never just about combat. It's about how you live. Right now, you're pulling 12 mental arrows at once. Work, notifications, relationships, health, money, regret, anxiety about the future. You try to hit all of them, so you hit none. You're in 10 tomorrows and 5 yesterdays, and never in the only place that has any power here. The question is, are you ready to learn what the warriors learned on blood-soaked fields 400 years ago? Chapter 1. The Missed Arrow. The year is 1603. The wars of unification have ended. Japan is finally at peace, but in the mountains of Ekizen province, one school still trains men as if war could return tomorrow. Haruto entered that school at 12. By 17, his skills were textbook perfect. Sword drills? Flawless. Archery form? Impeccable. Etiquette? Spotless. But there was a crack no one could fix for him. Inside, he was never where his feet were. During sparring, while wooden swords cracked against each other, his brain chased a dozen ghosts. What if I get hit? What if they laugh? What if sensei loses faith in me? What if I'm not as good as they think? His shoulders tensed, breath turned shallow, timing splintered. He started losing to students he used to beat easily. Whispers began. Haruto's form is good, but his heart is noisy. He hesitates. He wants to look perfect more than he wants to be present. The shadow hanging over all advanced students loomed closer, the trial of steel. A real duel with a real sword, against a real master. Not to the death, but to the moment when death would be certain if they didn't stop. Most took it at 18. Haruto was already 17 and a half. His name had not been called. One evening, after training, he walked to the inner garden. His master, Takeda Sensei, knelt by the koi pond, eyes half closed, hands resting lightly on his thighs. Haruto knelt behind him and waited. Wind in pines, ripples on black water, the drone of evening insects. 5 minutes, 10, 15. Finally, without turning, the old man spoke. "What is it, Haruto?" "Sensei." His voice wavered. "When will I take the trial of steel?" Takeda finally faced him. Those eyes had seen real battlefields, fought in campaigns before Haruto was born. "You want the sword trial?" "Yes, master. I've trained for 7 years. I can execute every kata. My archery scores are the highest." My blade, Takeda's hand cut the air. "Stand up." Haruto obeyed. "Draw your bokken." The boy wrapped his fingers around the wooden hilt. "Now," said Takeda, "cut me down." The master remained kneeling. No stance, no guard, neck exposed. An invitation. Haruto's throat went dry. "Strike." Haruto raised the sword. His arms trembled. This was the opening every combat drill had taught him to seize. The cleanest line, the shortest path. He could not move. I can't, Sensei." "Why?" Because you are my master." "It would be disrespectful." Takeda's face hardened, the warmth dropping out. Disrespect? No. That is the excuse your mind invents to protect itself. He jabbed a finger at Haruto's chest. You are not frozen by respect. You are frozen by fear. Fear of my reaction. Fear of doing it wrong. Fear of being seen. In your body stands a warrior. In your head lives a frightened child. His words hit harder than any strike. Takeda's voice softened, but the steel remained. On the battlefield, there is no time for 12 thoughts. There is only time for one clear seeing. Until you learn to stand entirely in this single moment, you are not a samurai. You are just a boy holding a dangerous object. Go, sit with this. Return when you can answer one question. Haruto bowed, more out of habit than understanding. That night, he lay awake, eyes open to the darkness. 7 years of grinding work. 7 new years away from home. 7 winters of frozen fingers, blistered feet, aching muscles. And the thing failing him wasn't his body. It was a storm nobody else could see. Takeda's words circled like crows. In your body stands a warrior. In your head lives a frightened child. Until you learn to stand entirely in this single moment, his failures replayed the flinches, the hesitations, the missed openings. He saw the pattern. He was always half a second ahead or half a second behind. Thinking about the last exchange, worrying about the next, never inside the one that was actually happening. As the first gray of dawn crept through the paper screens, Haruto made a quiet vow. I will find what Sensei is pointing at, even if I have to break every part of myself to do it. Chapter 2. The Lesson of One Step. The next morning, Haruto expected harder sword drills, strict corrections, maybe another humiliating test. Instead, Takeda gathered the students in the main hall. Today, he announced, no sword, no bow. A murmur. Today, we clean. Groans died behind straight faces. Discipline didn't allow complaint. Brooms were handed out. Buckets of water set beside the wooden walkways. Rags for the shrine, for the weapon racks, for the wall scrolls. Haruto caught himself thinking, this is a waste of time. I need blade work, not sweeping floors. The trial of steel is coming. Why are we doing a servant's job? As this thought passed through, his broom strokes grew sloppy. He missed dust in the corners. He knocked a bucket with his heel, splashing water on his hakama. Out of the corner of his eye, he noticed something. Takeda Sensei was sweeping too. The old warrior held the broom as if it were a sword. Every motion was direct, clean, unhurried. When he pushed the broom forward, that was his entire world. No impatience, no rush, just wood on wood, straw against grain. There was something unexplainable in the way he moved. A density, a silence. The noise in Haruto's mind grew louder in contrast. After hours of work, the dojo gleamed. Takeda motioned to Haruto. Walk with me. They stepped into a small meditation hall behind the main building. One scroll hung on the wall, 3 bold characters brushed in ink. Single practice absorption. The samurai of old called this one act absorption. Takeda said, to be completely inside the thing you are doing. Not beside it. Not ahead of it. Inside it. He sat. Haruto mirrored him. When you swept this morning, where was your mind? Haruto looked down. On the trial. On my sword. I'm wondering whether you think I'm a failure. So your body was here, moving the broom, but your mind was running laps in a future that does not exist. Takeda tapped the scroll. This is your disease. When you practice kata, where is your mind? Thinking about whether my form looks right, whether I'll be good enough when I face a real blade. So again, you are not in the cut. You are in the story around the cut. Haruto, he said quietly, you keep living everywhere, except the only place where anything actually happens. This is why your sword shakes. This is why your arrow wobbles. The ordinary man is split into 1,000 pieces. The warrior brings all of himself to one step, One breath, one cut. He pointed at the scroll again. Ichigi, zanmai. One act. My whole mind. Haruto swallowed. How do I learn that, sensei? Takeda rose. From this moment forward, you will train differently. When you walk, you only walk. Feel each step, heel to toe, the contact with earth. When you eat, you only eat. Taste the rice. Feel the chopsticks. No drifting into plans and memories. When you draw your bow, there is no target, no watching eyes, no scoring in your head. There is only this breath and the string between your fingers. How long must I do this? Haruto asked. Takeda smiled slightly. For as long as you wish to be alive. Begin with 10 breaths. If you can live truly inside 10 breaths, you will understand more than most men do in a lifetime. That night, Haruto sat on his mat. He didn't try to empty his mind or become spiritual. He did what Takeda said, watch 10 breaths. In, out. On breath 3, his mind leapt. Am I doing this right? What if Takeda is testing me? What if other students get ahead? He noticed the thought, as if watching a bird flit past, and gently came back. Breath 4, 5. A cascade of worries. A memory of his father's face when he left home. A fantasy of glory. He kept returning. Breath, body, this room. It felt like trying to hold a wild horse with a string, and yet buried inside the effort, there was the faintest taste of something new. Not peace, not bliss, just contact. With this moment, before we continue Haruto's story, if you can already sense that learning this one-pointed presence could transform your work, your relationships, your entire life, this is your path. Subscribe, stay close. We're building a community that trains the mind like old warriors train the body. Now back to the Mountain Dojo. Chapter 3, 40 Days of One Mind. The first week was brutal. Trying to stay with one task felt harder than any 100 push-up punishment. Walking to the well and back, Haruto would forget halfway what he was even paying attention to, lost in daydreams about impressing Takeda or fears of humiliation. Eating a bowl of rice, without his mind checking tomorrow's schedule? Almost impossible. Every little thing revealed the same pattern. His body did the action. His mind rehearsed a story. He wanted to quit this invisible training and do something that made sweat and bruises. But each time he considered dropping it, Takeda's words echoed. You keep living everywhere, except the only place where anything actually happens. So he persisted. Week 2, something unexpected cracked open. During morning archery practice, Haruto stood at 20 paces, arrow nocked. He decided silently, this shot, only this shot. Nothing else. Inhale, string drawn. Exhale. For a brief heartbeat, the arguments in his head vanished. No what if I miss. No sensei is watching. No, don't mess this up. Just the feel of the bow's curve, the fibers biting his fingers, the quiet between breaths. He was released. The arrow thudded into the center of the straw. The stillness popped like a soap bubble. Thoughts crashed back in. Was that it? Did I figure it out? Can I do it again? What did I do differently? But now he knew. Silence was not a myth. Presence was not a quote in an old book. It was possible in his own nervous system. That changed everything. He doubled down. When sweeping, he leaned into the sound of bristles on wood, the rhythm of his shoulders, the slight resistance of dust. When washing bowls, he felt the heat of water, the slipperiness of rice grains, and the smell of soap. When another student insulted him under his breath, he noticed the burn of anger, but instead of mentally wrapping it in revenge stories, he felt the raw sensation in his chest and let it pass. Others began whispering again. Haruto moves slowly now. He eats like a monk from the capital. Has he given up on ever taking the sword trial? Takeda watched him without comment. On day 35, the real test came. Full contact sparring. No helmets. just wooden swords and trust. Haruto faced Jin, a fierce, stocky student, already praised as future captain of the guard. Old Haruto would have stepped in with a hurricane of thoughts. Jin always goes for my ribs. Watch the ribs. Everyone is watching. Don't fail. Try that new counter Takeda showed yesterday. New Haruto dropped into his stance and placed his attention in one place. The feeling of his feet gripping the tatami, the way his weight shifted as he breathed. Jin leapt forward with a vicious overhead strike. Haruto's body moved before a single thought formed. Step aside. Blade up. Deflection. Counter to shoulder. Crack. Jin stumbled, eyes wide. They reset. Again and again, Jin attacked. Again and again, Haruto responded from something deeper than plans. He didn't think, now I will do K-7. Movements flowed out of him, like he was watching his own body react. Afterwards, Jin bowed low. You've changed, he said. Your cuts feel clean, like you're not there trying, you're just there. Haruto bowed back, saying nothing. But internally, a realization sprouted. Technique was just wood and stone. Presence was the fire that made it useful. That evening, Takeda called him to the garden. It's time, the old master said. Tomorrow, you face steel. Fear rose up from Haruto's gut. Then he saw it clearly, like a fish in clear water. Fear is here, he thought. That's allowed. He bowed. Yes, sensei. For the first time, he wasn't trying to convince himself he was ready. A deeper knowing had settled. Ready or not, didn't matter. Only whether he could be here, inside each breath, each step, each cut. Chapter 4. What happens in your brain when you become present? Press pause on Samurai Jewels for a moment. What actually changed in Haruto over those 40 days of one-act absorption? Modern neuroscience, with fMRI machines and EEG caps, would explain it like this. When your mind wanders, when you replay old arguments or pre-live future disasters, a network deep in your brain fires up. It's called the default mode network. It's responsible for self-referential thinking. What do they think of me? Time travel in your head. What if I had said? What if they? And rumination and anxiety. It's loud. I love drama. It burns huge amounts of mental energy while producing no useful action. When Haruto chose, again and again, to bring his attention back to sweeping, eating, walking, breathing, he was doing something profound. He was down-regulating this default mode network. At the same time, he was strengthening parts of the brain responsible for focus and attention, emotional regulation, and decision-making under pressure. This isn't mystical. It's visible on brain scans. Long-term meditators show more gray matter in attention centers, thicker areas involved with awareness, and less activity in the fear center, the amygdala, when confronted with stress. The samurai didn't know neuroscience words, but they had direct experience. They called this state Mushin no excess mind. Not that you're empty-headed, but that your head isn't in the way. Fudshin unshakable mind. Emotions arise, but don't throw you off center. Zanshin remaining mind. Awareness that stays open before, during, and after the action. When Haruto fought Jin without ahead of time planning, muscle memory and training could flow without interference from overthinking. He hadn't become a robot. He had become present enough for his body's wisdom to act at full speed. Modern psychologists call this flow state. Athletes, musicians, surgeons, even gamers report it. Time blurs, self-consciousness drops. You respond perfectly, without trying to. You can't hack your way into flow by wanting it. You arrive there by training exactly what Haruto was training, the skill of being completely with what you're doing. That's what you're about to see in action on the most dangerous morning of his life. If you want to train your brain out of distraction, the way warriors trained it out of fear, this is the journey we're on together. Subscribe and let's keep building this inner armor. Back to the trial of steel. Chapter 5. The Bridge of Blades. Dawn. Mist clung to the valley. The dojo gathered in silence by a stone bridge over the river. Haruto stepped forward in full attire, short sword at his belt. Bokken was replaced by a real katana for the first time in public. On the far side stood Takeda, already in stance, blade naked, edge catching the first light. A narrow bridge of slick stone separated them. No railings. White water below. "This is where countless travelers cross," Takeda said aloud for all to hear. "But this morning, it is a razor." The boy Haruto has trained for 7 years. Today, we will see only one thing. Where does his mind stand? Murmurs rippled. No mention of win or lose. Only mind. Haruto placed his bare foot on the cold stone. The world pressed in, the roar of the river, dozens of eyes, the bright line of Takeda's blade. A younger version of himself would have drowned in stories. If I fall, they'll call me a coward. If I win, they'll finally respect me. Don't look scared. Don't show weakness. Instead, he found the one thing available, the feel of stone under his toes. He stepped. The bridge was barely wide enough for 2 men to pass. There would be no circling, no dancing away. Each pace closed the distance. Each breath became louder than the crowd. They met in the center. Takeda moved first. A diagonal cut, not full force, testing Haruto's attention. Haruto's body answered. Steel met steel with a burst of sparks. No gap in his awareness. Then the pace changed. Takeda blurred into combinations Haruto had only seen in demonstrations. Downward cut, snap to thrust, sidestep, reverse slash. No time to think. If Haruto's mind had chased any what if, even for half a breath, the old warrior's blade would have found flesh. Instead, there was only this angle, this muscle contraction, this breath. Those watching saw something eerie, teacher and student, moving as if one body with 2 hearts. Clash, slip, turn, spark. Haruto's foot slid on a wet patch of stone. Old Haruto would have panicked, mind screeching, "Don't fall." New Haruto felt the slip, let his hip drop an inch, let the momentum become a spin, turning a near disaster into a surprising counterstrike. Gasps from the onlookers. For 3 eternal minutes, the dance continued. Then Takeda did something he had done to dozens of students before. He left a gap. A huge, obvious opening at his neck. Most who came before lunged at it, eyes full of desperate hunger to score. In that lunge, their balance broke. Takeda's counter would tap their chest or neck, indicating where death would have found them. Haruto saw the opening. His training screamed, "Cut!" Another quieter part saw more. The slight coiling in Takeda's rear foot, the glint in his eyes, the way his weight had not truly committed. Haruto's sword twitched, and he did nothing. He stayed, blade poised, center intact. Takeda's lips quivered, almost imperceptibly. The trap dissolved. He stepped back, lowered his sword, and bowed deeply. "The trial is over," he announced. A long breath seemed to leave the entire dojo. He passed without cutting. He passed by looking. Later, alone under the pines, Takeda spoke softly to Haruto. "Many can swing a blade. Fewer can see clearly while holding one. When you refused the bait, you proved your mind was not drunk on victory. You understood something most never do. Some openings are gates to death dressed as chances to win." Haruto listened, the adrenaline still leaving his system. He waited for praise, for some pronouncement that he was now done. Instead, Takeda said, "This was your first gate. From boy to warrior. There is another. From warrior to master. And for that, I can't teach you more. You must leave." Haruto's chest tightened. "Leave? Go south," Takeda said. "In the Cedar Mountains stands a temple called Autumn Bell. There, monks train not in sword forms, but in naked awareness. You will leave your blades at their gate and sit with the thing you fear most, "What is that, Sensei?" Haruto asked. Takeda's eyes softened with something like affection. "Yourself," he said. Chapter 6: A Year of Silence. Autumn Bell Temple did not care that Haruto was a samurai. When he bowed before the gate, the head monk glanced at the swords at his waist. "Those stay out here," he said. "But I am here. No one cares how fast you can kill." The monk cut in gently. "Only how still you can be." Haruto unclipped his weapons. The leather felt heavier than ever. He placed them on the wooden racks outside the gate. It was like cutting off limbs. Inside, there were no sparring matches, no forms under blue sky, no cheers for a perfect strike. There was 4 a.m. Bell, sitting facing a wall. Hours that felt like years. Work in the gardens, chopping vegetables, carrying water up stone steps. Rules: no idle talk, no showing off, no dramatizing your own struggle. The first month nearly broke him. On the battlefield of his mind, an endless war raged. You're wasting time. Your skills are rusting. Your classmates are advancing. You should be practicing swords, not staring at plaster. Legs burned, back screamed, feet went numb. Every itch felt like an emergency. A monk patrolled the meditation hall with a thin wooden stick. When someone's attention drifted so far away that their posture sagged, the monk would tap their shoulder sharply. Haruto was tapped, often. Each tap was a reminder, "Come back." You left again. Months 2 and 3, something subtle shifted. Haruto realized the goal was not to kill thoughts. That was just more violence. The goal was to see them, to watch the parade of images, fears, plans, resentments, without following every single one. Like sitting on a riverbank and letting leaves float past instead of jumping in after each one. Oh, here is anger. Oh, now comes boredom. Here is the old story, where I imagine impressing Takeda. Instead of fusing with them, he labeled them and returned to breath, to body. They kept coming, but their claws shrank. He began to notice something beneath all of it, a quiet space. Not dramatic, not enlightened, just a simple sense of being here. Whether he felt happy, sad, restless, that here-ness didn't change. The monks spoke of this as the original mind, the sky behind all the weather. By month 6, the temple routine had carved deep tracks into him. Sweep the corridor, fully. Ring the great bell at dawn, fully. Eat the morning porridge, fully. The same lesson Takeda had given, now in every breath. Then one evening, the head monk summoned him. "You've learned to be still in stillness," the old man said. "Now you must learn to be still on fire." He handed Haruto a folded letter. "A village 3 days from here burns every harvest," he said. "Not by accident, by bandits. They asked for a monk who could help. I am sending a samurai who has learned to sit." Haruto felt his heart quicken. Finally, something to hit. Something to prove. Then he smiled at himself. "Ah," he noticed. "Ego arrives. Interesting," he bowed. "What should I do there, master?" The monk held up one finger. "Whatever happens, do not abandon this breath. The bandits are not your true enemy," he said. "Your own panic is." Chapter 7: Fire in the Fields. Haruto walked 3 days through cedar forests and terraced hills. Each step was an old friend now. Weight transfer. Ground beneath. Air on skin. At sunset, on the 3rd day, smoke blackened the sky. He crested a hill and saw it. A small village. Fields of golden rice around it and flames licking the far edge of those fields. Villagers ran, buckets in hand, shouting, panicked. On the dirt road leading into town, 6 armed men walked slowly, as if out for an evening stroll. Their leader wore 2 swords and a red sash. His face was calm, cold. Bandits. Haruto stepped onto the road. No armor. No weapons. Old instincts screamed, "Draw." Intimidate. Shout your status. New training suggested something else. Stand, breathe, see. The bandit leader gestured lazily at Haruto. Move aside, boy, he called. We're busy collecting our taxes. Whose taxes? Haruto asked. Laughter from the men. Mine, the leader grinned. He walked closer, eyes narrowing. You have the walk of a dojo brat, he said. Where is your sword? At a temple, Haruto replied. More laughter. You thought prayers would protect you? Haruto shook his head slightly. No, presence will. The men jeered. The leader, whose name was Ryo, studied Haruto's face. You're not afraid, he said. Or, you're very good at pretending. Haruto didn't say, I am afraid. He didn't need to. He simply stayed with the feel of his pounding heart, the heat of the nearby flames, the weight of Ryo's gaze. This land feeds these families, Haruto said evenly. You burn it, they starve. Ryo shrugged. That's not my concern. It was once, Haruto said quietly. Before your lord fell. Before you decided that your pain gave you permission to create more pain. The shrug faltered. The other men glanced sideways at their leader. Ryo's jaw clenched. You know nothing about me. I know you still wear two swords properly, Haruto said. I know you walk like a man who trained for years under a code. I know that if that code was truly dead in you, you wouldn't have come yourself. You'd send others to do your burning. For the first time, a crack appeared in Ryo's mask. Anger surged forward to cover it. He ripped his sword from its sheath. You talk too much. He charged. The villagers screamed. Haruto didn't reach for a weapon he didn't have. He reached for the one thing he'd been sharpening for a year, his attention. In the space between Ryo's first step and the arc of his cut, Haruto saw everything. The drunken sway in one of the bandits' stances, the way the nearest well could be used for a bucket line, the direction the wind was blowing the fire, and the grief under Ryo's rage. Practically, he had one option. As Ryo's blade sliced toward him, Haruto stepped into the cut, not away, jamming both forearms up under Ryo's wrists, using the bandit's momentum to spin them sideways. The edge kissed his sleeve, opening fabric, but not flesh. They locked, breath to breathe. Kill him, one bandit roared. None moved. Ryo's eyes searched Haruto's. What he saw there was not bravado or hatred. It was stillness. Haruto spoke softly enough that only Ryo could hear. You can swing this blade and cut down a man who stands unarmed in front of you. But you can't cut down the part of you that will wake up at night remembering his face. You already know that. That's why your hands shake more now than they did in your first war. Ryo's forearms trembled against his. Haruto continued, The temple I came from will take you in. You can spend the rest of your life learning how to stand in your pain instead of setting fields on fire to distract from it. Or he loosened his grip, leaving Ryo's sword free. You can kill me here and continue pretending you no longer care. Silence all around them. The flames crackled at the edge of the fields. One of the younger bandits, scarred but wide-eyed, whispered, Boss? Ryo's breath came hard. This was his real duel. Not with Haruto, with himself. Finally, with a strangled sound, he ripped his sword out of Haruto's reach and drove it into the dirt. He fell to his knees. I am so tired, he muttered. So tired of this. The younger bandit dropped his own sword beside Ryo's without thinking, as if a spell broke. Then another. Haruto raised his voice to the villagers. Form a line from the well. You, he pointed at two boys beat the burning edges with wet clothes. Action exploded. Buckets moved. Shouts organized. Haruto ran with them, soaking robes, beating down the fire alongside farmers and children. His attention never left the next breath, the next swing, the next spot of flame. Hours later, the fire was out. The fields were wounded, but not dead. The sun was a red smear, slipping behind blackened stalks. Ryo stood apart with his men, watching. You didn't have to help us, he said. Haruto shrugged lightly, exhausted. There was something to be done. I was standing here. What else is there? Ryo barked a bitter laugh that wasn't quite bitter. Tell your temple, I am coming, he said. If they can teach a man like me to sleep again, I'll sweep every floor in the place. Haruto bowed. They will tell you the same thing my master told me. No one is beyond the reach of this breath. Chapter 8. The Return. Months later, Haruto walked back through Autumn Bell's gates. The head monk listened to the story without interruption. And what did you learn? He asked at the end. Haruto thought. I learned that presence is not just useful for hitting targets or blocking strikes. It changes other people. When I stayed here, he touched his chest while Ryo's sword was at my throat. He had to see himself as he was, not as his stories said he was. I became a mirror. Presence doesn't resist. It doesn't attack. It reveals. The old monk's eyes shone. Then your training here is complete. Where will you go? Haruto already knew. Back to Takeda-sensei, he said. Back to the dojo. Not to show them what I can do. To show them how to be. 10 years passed. Takeda retired to a small hut beyond the river. Haruto now led the dojo. New faces cycled through. One morning, a boy came bowing so low, his forehead almost scraped the floor. Master Haruto, he blurted. I want to be the finest swordsman in all of Japan. Haruto smiled. He had heard those words before. He had said those words before. Come, he said. They walked to the inner hall. On the wall, beneath Takeda's old scroll, hung a new one. Same 3 characters, focused absorption in action, single action absorption. Do you know what this means? Haruto asked. The boy squinted. To focus on one practice. Haruto nodded. That is the surface. Deeper than that, it means this. You never get to live in the moment where you're the greatest. There is only this cut. This step. This conversation. If you pour yourself fully into the thing right in front of you, something strange happens. The need to be the greatest starts to feel small. And your skill? He tapped the boy's chest. It grows anyway, faster. The boy frowned, confused. Haruto laughed softly. You don't have to understand with your head yet, he said. You only have to do the first exercise my master gave me. He handed the boy a broom. Start by sweeping the east corridor. When you sweep, only sweep. No imagining future battles, no replaying old insults. Can you do that? The boy's face fell for a heartbeat, expecting something more glorious. Then he nodded. I'll try. Haruto watched him walk away, saw the boy's mind racing ahead of his feet, saw his own 17-year-old ghost in that eager back. He smiled. The cycle continued, blade after blade, breath after breath. The real art was never about the sword. It was always about where you place your mind while holding it. Right now, you might not be holding a katana. You might be holding a keyboard, a steering wheel, a crying child, a phone buzzing with messages. But the law is the same. If your mind is scattered across 10 imaginary futures, you will miss the only target that exists. This one email, this one meeting, this one conversation, this one breath. Train yourself to live inside each of these fully, and you are walking the same road Haruto walked. Step by step, moment by moment. If you're ready to walk that road with us, subscribe, train, notice. Turn every ordinary action into your dojo. Presence isn't a talent, it's a muscle, and you can start strengthening it in the next breath you take. See you in the next lesson, warrior.